Thank you. As a member of Toastmasters International and Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club, I promise to attend meetings regularly to prepare all my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules of all Toastmasters educational and recognition programs, to act within Toastmasters' core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities. Without further ado, this evening we are pleased to have an induction ceremony, which will be led by DTM, Distinguished Toastmaster Joni Laidlaw. Let us welcome Toastmaster Joni Laidlaw to the lecture.
Thank you, Madam President. All right. One moment, I was trying to get myself set up. However, as we know, sometimes things don't work out the way they should. So let me just go ahead and try to make sure that I get the chance to be set up effectively. No. Today for our induction ceremony, we will be inducting not one, not two, not three, but 4 new members to the Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club family. Now, what I'm going to ask is for our Sergeant at Arms to assist in spotlighting the following members for me: Toastmaster Dwight Jewell, Toastmaster Karen Kennedy, Toastmaster Francesca Louise, and Toastmaster Lenore St. Croix. These will be the new members that will be being inducted for us today. Now, each member has been assigned a mentor. As you can see, Toastmaster Carla Isaacs agreed to do it for Toastmaster Dwight. Distinguished Toastmaster Esther Germany agreed to take on being the mentor for Toastmaster Karen Kennedy. Francesca Louise and Lenore St. Croix will both be mentored by Madam President Marcella St. Omer. Now I'm going to ask one of our new members. I am not noticing them spotlighted.
Right. I think Ms. Sunquay is there.
Right. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to ask is for Toastmaster Dwight. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Beautiful. On behalf of your fellow members, I'm going to ask you to read the new member pledge. And I'm going to ask all of our new members that when he is finished, you unmute and say, I agree if you do. So can you go ahead? Where to say your name? Say your name.
I, Dwight Jules, in the presence of my fellow members of the Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club, make the firm obligation to attend meetings regularly and prepare fully for each assignment. Apply myself to the Pathways program, participate actively in the club's activities, evaluate others in a positive, constructive manner, build open, friendly relationships with my fellow members, and bring other new members into the club so that they can also gain the benefits of Toastmasters. I agree.
Okay, and I would like our other new members to also unmute and say, I agree if you do.
I agree.
Beautiful.
I agree.
Now I am going to ask Madam President Marcella St. Omar, on behalf of all of our mentors, to read that pledge to our new members. Madam President.
Will you undertake to guide and assist your mentees as they pursue their program of self-development through the Toastmasters International Program at Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club?
It was supposed to be me reading that, and all the mentors say, I will. Which includes yourself.
I will.
And I will say I will on behalf of Toastmaster Esther. And I know Toastmaster Carla was having a problem with her microphone, so I know she will put it in the chat.
I will.
All right, beautiful. Now, as members, we also commit to our new members. And I'm going to ask Toastmaster Carla to read the member pledge for us. Or on behalf of the club.
We, the members of the Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club, pledge to support you in your quest for self-development, to provide you with positive, helpful evaluations, maintain a friendly, supportive atmosphere, give you opportunities to help others, and make your Toastmasters membership experience a rewarding and fulfilling experience. ATM, over to you.
Wonderful. Now I'm going to ask everyone, all the members of the Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club, to unmute and say, we will, as an affirmation that we agree to assist our incoming members.
Yeah.
We will.
We will.
We will.
We will.
Beautiful. Thank you. Our new members, this is the promise, our promise to you, back to you, our Toastmaster of our Madam President.
Thank you, DTM, or rather distinguished Toastmaster Joni. Thank you for this wonderful induction and welcome on board to the new Toastmasters. Woo, 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 woo. Welcome to Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club. And at this point, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the Madam of the Evening, distinguished Shirley Ann O'Connor. A Toastmaster for 16 years, our Toastmaster of the day shared that she loves to read and she has always enjoyed a good fairy tale, especially those by Enid Blyton. She believes that finding something magical in each day is one way to remain rooted and positive in the face of life's challenges. Let us welcome distinguished Toastmaster Shirley Ann O'Connor to the lectern. Over to you.
Virtual gavel and lectern received. Yeah. I've always found that sitting down and reading a fairy tale has brought me a sense of serenity. Anybody else here can relate to that? I can relate to that. Toastmaster Clive, I've asked you to send me in private chat what your favorite fairy tale is. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters and guests, newly inducted members of Platinum, congratulations on the bold step you have taken in your own development. Life is one big fairy tale. Life itself is the most wonderful fairy tale. The truth is, there is so much that comes at us each and every day. The stress, if you're a parent, the children fighting, the bills to pay, the job to get through. it's very easy to become bogged down and negative and mired into all of that negativity, and therefore you would have lost your serenity. So fairy tales play a very important role. And so too does the evaluation team. And this evening, our general evaluator is a lady whose favorite fairy tale is The Little Mermaid. Now, if you remember The Little Mermaid, she was one who loved to explore, push the boundaries, to look and see everything. And that's very similar to the role that evaluation plays in a meeting. It is helping us to push our boundaries and see all there is that there is to be seen. And for that, I happily hand the gavel over to our general evaluator, Toastmaster Dominique Barnett. Let's make her welcome.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, as your general evaluator, it is my pleasure to evaluate everything that takes place within this meeting. Part of my role is to take notes of what happens and what does not happen, as well as to evaluate each participant that is listed on our meeting agenda. In my evaluation, I will look for examples of preparation, organization, delivery, enthusiasm, among other things. And during the evaluation segment, I will give my report as the general evaluator. This is an important and monumentous task, but fortunately, I have a team of capable Toastmasters to assist me in my observations. And to introduce their roles, I will call upon our timer, our grammarian, and our R counter in that order at this time. Over to you, Madam Timer, Carol DeLeo.
Good evening. Thank you very much, General Evaluator. This evening, I will be your fairy tale millisecond timer. And I'm here to time all 3 segments, the prepared speeches, table topic, as well as evaluation. There is our talk for 15 minutes. I will show the green. Give me a second. I'll show the green at 13 minutes, the yellow at 14, and the red at 15. There are 3 prepared speeches, all for 7 minutes. So the green will be shown at 5, the yellow at 6, and the red at 7, and will stay up until each speaker has completed their speech. There is also the table topic segment, and each speaker is allowed to speak for 2 minutes. 1 minute at green, 1 minute and 30 at yellow, and 2 minutes at red, and that will stay up until each speaker has completed their speech. There's the evaluation segment. The evaluators shall have time for 3 minutes, so 1 minute at green, 2 at yellow, and 3 at red. The table topic evaluator, they will get the green at 2 minutes, yellow at 3, and the red at 4. At the end of the session, once I'm called upon by General Evaluator to give the timing, fairy tale timer, millisecond, will present the time. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Madam Timer. Just to confirm, was the time also shared for our icebreaker speech?
Oh, yes, sorry about that. Thanks very much, General Evaluator. The icebreaker is for 6 minutes. So the green will be shown at 4, at 5, yellow, and at 6, the red, and will stay up until that speaker has completed his or her speech. Back to you, General Evaluator, and thank you.
Over to our grammarian to explain her role for this evening. Toastmaster Mary Bruce.
This evening I'll be your grammarian, and I'll be looking for grammatical errors, pronunciations, overuse of words. And I'm looking for the use of the word of the day, which is serenity, which means the state of being calm, peaceful, and untroubled. And you could also say, you like the sentence I got was, are you in a state of being calm, peaceful, and untroubled in spite of life's challenges? So that's going to be my role this evening. So thank you very much. Back to you, Madam Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mary Bruce. And last but certainly not least, our counter, Toastmaster Patrick Chester. Over to you.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. My role this evening is to listen for all the clutch words and the ahs and the repetitive words that should not be spoken in a speech. Now, I will be making an account for every person who speaks tonight and make a note of all the ahs and the ohs and the and but. So, and at the end of the meeting, when called upon, I will give my report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Patrick. We will all return to give our report during the evaluation segment, and I return control to our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator. We certainly look forward to the report that you will give us, the review that you will give us. As we think about this thing called fairy tale, sometimes an artwork is a bit like a fairy tale because the message is woven in all the swirls and the paint and the vision that that artist brings to life. Now, sharing some of his vision, some of what he has, is the gentleman that's going to be giving us our art talk this evening. Now, the truth is, there is a lot, and I do mean a lot, I could tell you about the gentleman. But I am only going to tell you just a few things. Like, for example, photographic griot and creator of the St. Lucia Photo Tour, which is a niche tourism product that immerses travelers in the culture, history, and cuisine of St. Lucia through the medium of photography. He has also has been trained by some of the world's top photographers from Hawaii to Miami and across the Caribbean too. In fact, he has visited and photographed the Caribbean extensively, and his client list runs the gamut from New York Times to government agencies and large corporate organizations. And of course, there are going to be some private clients in all of that as well. He is a National Geographic certified educator, a National Geographic certified storytelling for impact in the classroom photographer, and a certified sustainable tourism in small island developing states ambassador. He graduated from the University of the West Indies, Jamaica, and currently serves as the director at St. Lucia Hospitality and Tourism Association, as well as a counselor at St. Lucia's National Export Council. So you see, you will most definitely be given a talk by a photographer extraordinaire. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Kirk Elliott. Mr. Elliott, over to you.
Thank you for that really warm introduction. Listening to it, I almost had to look over my shoulders to go and pinch myself to go, is that me they're speaking about? But then I heard the Mona part and I went, yeah, that's me, because Jamaica is so near and dear to my heart. And I've heard a couple of yardies on this evening. So with that said, I think of it like, think of the Pope. I wouldn't think of the Pope, or I wouldn't think of a priest coming to Mass and not having communion to offer the congregation. So along those lines, as a photographer, I couldn't imagine myself coming in and not starting out with some images. So with that said, what I would like to do is do a bit of a share screen, if I can just figure that out. Do I have access to screen? And
Yes.
share and pull this up. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay, beautiful. So I'm just going to roll right into this. And I'm pulling my
I see you dancing along, but we're not hearing the sound. Is there music to it, or is it just in your soul?
There's music. I thought it was coming through. So what I have on this, forgive me that it's not coming through, but I've got the Mission Impossible theme played in pan.
So we're hearing it now through your speakers, Abby.
Well, those pictures are so small, really hard to see, but I think they look good.
Okay, so just let me see if I can come out of that and get back into, okay, fine. So yeah. Apologies, I heard someone saying that the images were kind of small. I can share this afterwards so that folks can have a look at it. But just jumping right in. I must have been about 12 years old or so when an uncle was home one Christmas and gave me his old Kodak camera. He had upgraded his camera and gave me that one, and it was an instant one. You know that thing about shake it like a Polaroid? It was one of those. And that camera for me was just about the coolest thing. Pictures came out instantly, and wham, in a heartbeat, you saw what you had shot. So that first got me interested in photography. But the thing is, film was royally expensive. It wasn't available locally. And I always felt bad asking folks coming down, you know, can you bring me some film? Knowing how much it cost. So being the creative person that I am, what I did was I went to school, and at sports day, I would shoot pictures of my friends. And it was $5 a pop for those pictures, especially if you won. So that started me along the lines of photography. And I got really excited by the fact that, you know, people were all enthralled by it, and here I could make some money off of it. Continued through school, through secondary school, went into A-level, played around with it just a little bit there. But it was really when I went over to Mona that I joined the camera club, and learned the fundamentals of photography. And it was really cool to get out, get off campus, go to all of these places to shoot pictures. I often say that, boy, I really lined in Jamaica, and my camera was part of the reason. So there I was in Jamaica shooting pictures. And I remember one day, someone called me up, one of the girls on campus. It was a Sunday, and she said, hey, Kirk, I need to get some passport pictures, but it's Sunday. I can't go into town for it, and I don't have the time until later on in the week, and it's urgent. So can you shoot some pictures for me? So I went over and I shot the pictures. And when I showed her those pictures, she really loved them. And she said, nobody likes passport pictures, but I really like these. So then the word started to get round, you know, hey, if you want pictures, call Kirk, he'll do it for you. And that really got me on the pathway to more photography. And folks will often tease me and say, yeah, Kirk, you use the camera to get the girls. But really, it wasn't that. What happened was when I was much younger, I had a bad experience with someone who I now recognize or later recognize had only just gotten a camera and didn't know how to use it. So he had myself and my friend posed up in this, and I had this smile on my face for the longest while, so much so that my face started to tremble. And every time I got in front of the camera for many, many years, my face would tremble and I hated my pictures. So when this young lady on campus asked me about shooting a picture for her, I took a lot of time with her. I want you to sit like this. I want you to do that. No, I don't like that smile. Can you do it like this? I really put effort into it. And now, fast forward, I have come back home from Jamaica and I applied for work. After my third application of getting a no, I said, to hell with it, I can't be bothered. But the interesting thing was, I had gotten a scholarship to go to Jamaica. I looked on the government priority list and said, what is the area that the least number of people are likely to apply for? I am going to apply for that because it increases my chances of getting a scholarship. So there was this thing called geothermal engineering. I went out, I studied for it, come back home. The government has abandoned the project because it's not economically viable. So of course, no work for me. And I just went, yippee, I love this. So I started my hustle, working for my uncle, selling cars, going out shooting pictures for friends, and just really, really having a blast. One day, a sis called me up and said, hey, Kirk, I have a wedding happening at the resort where I work. Would you like to shoot it? And I went, yeah. Now, I had never shot a wedding before. And it never crossed my mind that I could mess up. So I went out, I shot the wedding. The bride absolutely loved the pictures. And that then took me down the road of producing wedding photography. It expanded from there. I got a call from Sandals. We need a photographer. I went in, I spoke to them. They liked what I had to say. And there I was at this resort shooting 50 weddings a month and all of the in-house photography of the resort. So that took me deeper into photography, gave me the opportunity to get out and travel. And that's how I ended up out to Hawaii, because I heard visitors saying St. Lucia reminds them of Hawaii, across to Miami, joining ASMP. There's the American Association of Media Photographers, and really interacting with, like I said, some of the best photographers in the world. Photographers who are talking about bobbing a ride on Donald Trump's jet to go shoot a wedding in Paris. That's the kind of interaction. And them sharing, this is how I did it. This is what I did with the pictures. This is how I sold my images. And seeing as well the business of photography. So that has taken me right across the gamut of so many different aspects of photography. It has led me now to the interaction with National Geographic. And I must very quickly say that it is not National Geographic as a contributing photographer, because what I have done was I started working with a rural community, helping them. In fact, it's a community of St. Lucian Maroons. and helping them to get a sense of self-worth and realizing what happened, what came out of Africa before the Europeans. And consequent to that, I went out and got National Geographic Educator certification to really help me work with them. But my photography played a big part in it. And then I extended it to the storytelling in the classroom through photography. So that's been me down that road. And here in St. Lucia, and even beyond St. Lucia as well, my name is generally associated with photography. But I often say to folks that it is so much more than just photography for me. It really, I have always considered my camera as the medium that gets me through doors that otherwise would likely have been closed. And what an experience that has been. Now, I wish to go a little bit beyond that creative side of photography and speak to a challenge that we have as Caribbean people. And it is a challenge of the business of the creative arts. Very often, when one thinks of the Caribbean and one says artist, you're almost instantly discounted. The artist is the struggling artist. And I think that it is incumbent on us as artists and artisans to really consider our craft. What is our value? What is our unique selling proposition? What makes us uniquely who we are? And really recognizing that value. For even though in many instances we would be happy to just show up and produce, and even if it was for no money, because of the accolades of having done this or having done that, it's important for us to also recognize that the car needs gas to run. And I don't know for anyone else, but I like my car to have power steering and air conditioning too. So I really want to speak to the whole idea of intellectual property, the whole idea of being aware of the business of whatever your area of art is. The idea, for instance, of speaking to others, of engaging with an attorney. It could be an attorney friend, and finding out, how do I do this? Get online, Google intellectual property and Google intellectual property rights. Very often, as a photographer, I run into the challenge that someone will call me up. Hey, Kirk, can you come out and do this job for me? And the questions I ask is, what time do you need me there? How long will I be there for? How are you going to use these pictures? And now I get to speak into not only my fee for showing up, but also my fee for fair usage. And that's when I very often run into a snag. But I thought you took the pictures and they are mine. No, no, no. I created the pictures, but the intellectual property enshrined in them belongs to me, and I must be compensated for it, or else I will go out of business. So I hope I have titillated you folks this evening with just this little scratch of the iceberg that is Kirk Elliott and Kirk Elliott's photography. And with that, I wish you all a very marvelous evening. Thank you.
Please, let us just have some emojis or the actual sound of the applause for our photographer extraordinaire, Kirk Elliott. Thank you so much, sir, for that enlightening talk. And certainly that my takeaway from it in particular is just how much you must value your work and do not be afraid to demand that other persons recognize your work and the value of it. Again, thank you so much for that talk, Mr. Elliott. Now, as you know, there are, 3 parts to a meeting, really? we have the evaluation, we have the prepared speeches, and we have the impromptu speeches. And now we're at the point when we will have our prepared speeches. Our first speaker says that our first speaker has been a Toastmaster for quite some years. He's a poet, and he also is an artist of, I would say to you that he's not of any one genre, but rather several. His fairy tale of choice is Alice in Wonderland, which makes you think about the curious nature of the rabbit with the timing, and Alice just going down into that. And I believe that it epitomizes what the curious nature that our speaker has. But I'm going to invite his evaluator to tell us more about what his project is. And his evaluator is it Trisha Denton or Gabriella Royce? I'm seeing the two and I'm not sure.
Evaluate the evaluator, so it is Gabriella.
Oh, it's a evaluate the evaluator? All right, thank you. So his evaluator is Gabriella Royce. Miss Gabriella, Toastmaster Gabriella, could you just share with us a little bit more on Toastmaster Clyde's speech?
Are you able to see me?
If you don't turn on your camera, no.
Hold on a second, I apologize. Are you able to see me now? Am I visible?
Yes, you are.
Alrighty. Excellent. All right, well, I thought the speech was overall very, very interesting. I thought he spoke very clearly.
Hold a second. I'm sorry. Are you evaluating Clyde's speech? Clyde Bowen's speech? Aren't you evaluating that?
Right, you're doing the introduction, what you're expecting from Clyde.
And
oh, I'm
if
so sorry.
Not yet spoken, I'm not quite sure what
I am so sorry. I made notes. I'm so sorry. Give me just a moment. Give me just a brief second. I apologize.
While we're waiting for Gabriella to catch her bearings, how about one of our newbies, Dwight? Would you like to share your opinion on the art talk as we're waiting? Think of it as an impromptu speech, Dwight.
Well, based on what he said, yeah, it was really inspiring. And it kind of reminds me of Samuel L. Jackson as well, who is an actor.
Oh, okay. So you think that there's, as well as photography, there's acting. Okay, thank you so much for your comment. Leonore, were you a new person that was, I believe you were inducted today as well? Would you like to share your opinion on the art talk? All right, I'm not seeing you, Leonore, coming on. Valdemir, did I pronounce your name correctly? Mr. Wallace? Oh, okay.
Good evening. I'm here now. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you now.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was having a little difficulty getting in. I thought it a very interesting presentation, clear, concise, very, very well rendered. It kept me riveted, and there were some great takeaways.
A point of order, please.
Yeah.
My speech is not yet gone, so it cannot be evaluated until after.
Nobody's evaluating your speech.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your speech is not being evaluated at all.
Now commenting on the art talk, I beg your pardon.
Yes. What happened is your evaluator seems to be having a bit of a challenge. So I was giving her time, and instead of us sitting down listening to dead air, I thought I would use the time for us to just talk about how the art talk impacted us. Of course, the alternative could be that we move to the next speaker to give your evaluator some time, or alternatively, I'm not sure if Trisha Denton is in a position to do so. Gabriella, you want to tell us how it is going? How
It's going
you...
fine. Just give me 2 more seconds.
Okay, all right. So we'll continue to wait for Gabriella. I'm sorry, Leonore, were you finished? Sorry for the interruption.
Yes, I was finished.
Okay, yes, I did agree that I thought it was quite inspiring as well. Mr. Walcott, I don't see Gabriella back as yet. So why don't you tell us, what is your one takeaway from the art talk?
Well, you know, serendipity has a way of playing on things. As I said, it just happened onto that particular area of work. And we're all gratified and blessed for it, because judging from his pictures that he shared with us, it's a shame that we didn't have the music to go along with it. We couldn't hear, but those were absolutely very vibrant pictures that really captured the paysage, the scenery, and really gave you a true, it just, I should say it was a good, and I'm trying to find the right terminology for it, because it was an excellent rendering, I believe, of the pictures. So I am not surprised that Kirk Elliott is very successful. He seemed to have a very unique eye. And thanks for sharing this evening, Mr. Elliott. Thank you.
All right, great. So Mr. Elliott, you see that you inspired us on many levels. One of which I suspect is, have you been told, Mr. Elliott, before that you resemble Samuel Jackson, as our first speaker alluded?
What's in your wallet?
That's right.
So here's what, quick story. I get this all the time, and I am in tourism. So one of the things that I do, I love to play on stuff. So whenever I have visitors who are coming in to meet me, especially if they're coming off the cruise ship, there's a location where I will wait for them. And I always say to them, when you come off, just walk up to the front near the jewelry store. I will be wearing a Kangol hat slung backwards, and folks say that I remind them of Samuel L. Jackson. So again, I am respecting Sam's intellectual property, and I will never say that I look like him. However, it is fair game to say that folks say that I remind them of him.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Gabriella, thank you for giving us the opportunity to share a little more with Mr. Elliott. Over to you now, Gabriella, to share the project that Toastmaster Clive will be bringing to us.
All righty, bear with me. All right, are you able to see me?
Yes, we can.
All righty, so Toastmaster Clive Bowell will be giving his icebreaker speech, where he'll be introducing himself to the club. The purpose of this project is for the member to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. I'd like to introduce to you Toastmaster Bowen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the virtual lectern Toastmaster Clive Bowen, as he presents for us this evening the bird season. The bird season, Clive Bowen.
When the hot country summer comes along, you find your restless serenity in the excitement of the bird season. You join an informal band of district boys intent on a common purpose, to go bird hunting. No school for the next 7 weeks. No books, no mathematics, no classroom prisons. All you have to do is drink in the hot summer days as liberated agents, reveling in the freedom of school let out. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, you have no idea what the bird season is like. If you have, unless you have lived far away from city-walled concrete jungles, finding repose in remote places where happy trees sing every blooming song they can think of. In those same trees, birds build their wattle and dove nests, eat their seed banquets, and orchestrate their flutes and piccolos, unaware of the human threat that lingers in the brush beneath. First, you have to make your catapults or slingshots. You cut a sturdy but supple branch from the orange, lime, guinea, or pimento tree. It must have a seamless white crutch. You hone it down for the perfect grip. You cut your main tongues and slender tie strings from quality rubber that is tense and bouncy. It can stretch a mile and then recoil to an inch, like a cheetah's leap and land. You carve the catapult tongue out of old shoe tongues, or shoes still in use, which you will then hide from your parents. When it's all done, you gather smooth pebbles like the one with which David slew Goliath, and you practice shooting green mangoes hanging from stubborn trees to acquire a steady aim. Sometimes you barely escape the VVAP and zing when other boys let loose their imprecise bullets too close to your ears. At other times, you see who first can hit an object someone throws up in the sky before it lands to the ground. Then, on an appointed morning, your mission implicitly understood and silently sanctioned by your parents and guardians, you meet at an agreed location and set out to conquer Mr. Hastings or Mr. Heron's back bushes with your bird hunting tools, catapult, pen knives, pebbles, tool bags, machetes, and spare rubber for catapult repairs. Your company comprises Sockfinger Natey, Glenn, Chacha Kitty, Lincoln, Cobbage Tony, Lester, and Big Navel Len. As you duck under the barbed wire fence, Big Navel Len gets his shirt tail caught in the barbs as usual, and one of us has to disentangle him. You tiptoe past Mr. Heron's pond, his turtle pond, which is too close to his veranda for comfort. Lester punches Chacha Tony in the mouth to shut him up, and throws chicken bones to the big dogs as they start to make a racket, quieting them long enough just for us to dash into the bush and out of sight. Legend has it that Mr. Heron owns a rifle he's not afraid to use, and that he never misses a target. They say he also has a booming voice that shakes the earth when he shouts. He even calls his boy home from school over a mile away to help him catch a bull that gets away one day. Under the cover of the trees, we relax and set about our quest, shooting pecheries, ball pits, parakeets, p-dubs, lapwings, and white bellies. P-dubs are hard to come by, elusive. Their plaintive song, narrative, gentle, miracle, sweet song, never seems to come from the true location of their perch. I love to hear the ball pit though, hum their deep-throated looks like such a shame to have to roast the poor fellows and eat them. Not so with the ground doves and hopping dicks. They are duppy birds. Sockfinger Natey has to fling away the hopping dick he shoots and quickly whisper the 23rd Psalm, Lord's my shepherd, I shall not want. At intervals, we pause our shooting to hunt out the habitats of nesting birds. If there are eggs in the nest, we mark them and come back in 2 weeks to retrieve the young ones. If there are young ones in the nest, we take them home as pets. We often find baby parakeets and woodpeckers in the trunks of hollow trees. We cut the entrance hole big enough to reach our hand inside to bring them out, and their sharp beaks always give us nips. We fill our stomachs with mangoes, star apples, guineps, soursops, nesberries, and cerasee berries. Anything we knew not to be poisonous. Cabbage Tony always has coconut drops in his side pockets, which he pinches and nibbles all day long. Nobody wants any. Love loot bags full of birds, dead or alive, and stomachs bursting with pre-digested fruit. We set out for home as the afternoon shadows lengthen. One hell of a thing it will be to get past Mr. Heron's veranda unnoticed. We hope he'll be fast asleep in his usual afternoon post-alcohol easy chair. We can always throw a cheap bird, a picheri, to the dogs as we scamper by. By the time Mr. Heron wakes up and grabs his rifle, we will be out of sight, sheltered under the brow of the hill. Of all the seasons of my life, one truly adventurous time I will always remember is the hot summer bird season of my country living days. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Clive. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I am not seeing our second speaker. Is that so? I'm not seeing Joannick. Is that so? Okay, that is so, Roger. Thank you for that. We now move to our second speaker, who is going to be Marcelo St. Omer. Now, Marcella's fairy tale of choice is Beauty and the Beast. Now, you will recall at some point, Marcella would have told you her story of how she journeyed as a speaker. And while I don't know that I thought she would have been a beast, she's definitely the beauty as she has grown into her Toastmasters role. To tell us more about what her speaking project will be is her evaluator, Francois Boyle. Sir Francois, could you please tell us more about Toastmaster Marcella's project?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the evening. Toastmaster Marcella St. Omer. Speech title, Hooked on Crochet. Project purpose. The purpose of this project is to learn or review basic methods for writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. Back over to you, Toastmaster of the...
Okay, so forgive me for calling you sir. And did I pronounce your name properly? Because I'm very big on pronouncing names properly.
Francoise.
Francoise. Ah, got you. Okay, thank you so much, Toastmaster Francoise. Ladies and gentlemen, please prepare yourself for Hooked on Crochet by Toastmaster Marcella St. Omer. Hooked on Crochet, Toastmaster Marcella.
Having a hobby or a passion makes one an overall more attractive person. This quote has definitely made me realize and build my confidence. This quote has made me understand why I'm hooked on crochet and why I'm that hooked when I take up my hobbies. I literally have a few hobbies. I love gardening, I love to crochet, I love dancing, all genres, preferably salsa. I love Toastmasters. I love to volunteer. Today, I chose to speak on how I got hooked on crochet. Toastmasters and guests, what is crochet? Does anyone know how to crochet? Can anyone raise their hand if they know how to crochet? Very well. Studies say that crochet is a process where you create textiles by using a crochet hook to interlock loops or yarn, thread, and strands or any other kind of material. The name derived from the French term crochet, meaning small hook. Hooks are made of a variety of wood, bamboo, plastic, and other materials like metal as well. Crocheting uses a hook. You use the hook to crochet and you form loops of yarn that you use and you make stitches to form a structure or a pattern. As a child, I learned how to crochet. However, I had this dream that one day I would love to be a fashion designer. Life went on as life would have it. Much later, I got married, I had children, and I had a family to raise. So I usually put my little crochet aside for a while. Much later, I was on again, crocheting. And when I crochet, I usually crochet clothing like swimwear, short pants, bras, boyfriend skirts, and as well crochet dresses. But what I usually got involved in trade shows when people saw my work and they fell in love with it. I usually met certain people who were in this field, like stakeholders, who spoke with me and asked me, but why not take part in this trade show? And it was as a result of taking part in the trade show that I began doing fashion shows. Certain people from the Fashion Council came up, approached me and asked me, why not? And this is why I realized that being hooked on crochet, this is the kind of result that I got from being involved in crochet and crocheting, because lots of people crochet, but they just do it for little home stuff, little things to put on their tables, on the back of their chairs, and so on. But I thought I should take this crochet art form to a different level. And it has worked for me quite nicely. What I really, really loved was participating in the fashion shows. The experience you get working backstage with the models, having to do rehearsals. When I have a contract to put on a show, I usually work with a team, and I get my team to attend the rehearsals. And of course, the guys are involved, likewise the women, they're more than happy to visit and participate in the rehearsals, because it's a lot of excitement for them. Being backstage, it was another kind of experience altogether. You get to work with the makeup artist. You get to work with the project manager who actually manages backstage, and everybody's up and down. Everybody wants to get this done, get that done. The models would just strip right there, right in front of you, and you go, oh my God, and you just pretend that you didn't see that, and you just saw everything, and you never believe that it's the same person you saw walking up and down, looking so dainty and nice, can just do that at the show. So, I had this kind of experiences, and of course my team, they love that. So I really love the backstage. When you get out of backstage and the audience are there waiting for the runway and waiting for everybody to, to see your designs, it's just a beautiful experience. I can't tell you how beautiful that experience is. And the photographers, oh wow, they out there waiting with their big cameras, photographers like Cook Elliott. I remember his story very well. You go, Cook. And Toastmasters and guests today, having talked about my experience and everything, I would like to say that crochet has taken me up there, way up there, the likes of the designers, working with designers. And when you hear your name, designer, are you ready? So and so and so. Oh, it's just very exciting. In a nutshell, I would like to say and encourage everyone, if you have that dream, and if you think it's a hobby, just keep thinking and come up with ideas and just do something big and grand like I did. And like now I leave with a little quote. Anyone who keeps learning everything stays new. Everything keeps learning stays new by Henry Young. Anyone who keeps learning stays young by Henry Young. And by Henry Ford, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much, Toastmaster Marcella. My mom actually crochets. Well, she doesn't do that anymore, but it's something that I remember as a child watching her do. Never had the drive to do it, however. So guess what? And the fairy tale continues. Now, for some persons, the next segment is when they feel their serenity gets disturbed. But I actually think that that's not the way to look at it. I am going to encourage you to be at peace and participate as we welcome our Table Topics Master, who happens to be Distinguished Toastmaster Joni Laidlaw. And guess what her favorite fairy tale is? Cinderella. Oh yes, the romance of it all, Cinderella. But I'm actually going to look back at another part of it and the fact that Cinderella was so hardworking. And those of you that know Joni knows how very appropriate this fairy tale is to her own personality. We can only hope that a better Prince Charming comes along for her, because right now Murphy not working so well for her. But I tell you what, it's all about table topics. Over to you, Distinguished Toastmaster Laidlaw.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Our table topic, the time when if you're not on the agenda, you get the chance to speak. Now, keep in mind that the timer will be changing the cards. Green at 1 minute, yellow at 1:30. 2 minutes, you get the red. In order to qualify, you are required to speak for between 1 minute and 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I will be asking for volunteers first, and if nobody does volunteer, then I will voluntold. And any volunteers? Toastmaster Eric, what is your favorite fairy tale?
Oh, wow. Actually, it was a fairy tale that I came upon as a child, and it was the topic of, if I could recall correctly, Bullfrog. Bullfrog was misplaced. He grew up with a bunch of cows, and he was held to the standard of a cow. He tried to eat grass. He tried to moo, everything that a cow did. He was ridiculed for not really growing, not being as tall, not being as strong. And one day, Bullfrog came to find his fate, diving deep into the river, chasing a bug, or was it a fish? But in any event, he went so deep, so deep, so deep, that he went into a neverland, only to find his milieu, where there were other frogs that looked like him. And Bullfrog truly was not a cow. He found that he was indeed a frog. In fact, he was the long-lost prince. He had all of the traits. He was revered when he finally found his true fate. He was, in fact, a frog. Thank you.
Love that fairy tale. It reminds me of a quote about school that I heard that says, if you judge a fish by its criteria to climb a tree, then you will always think it's a failure. Excellent fairy tale. Our next question, are we going to have any volunteers? Toastmaster Carlo, what is your favorite Disney movie? What is your favorite Disney movie? Toastmaster Carla Isaac. I'm not hearing Toastmaster Carla answering, so I'm going to pass that on to Toastmaster Dwight. What is your favorite Disney movie?
My favorite Disney movie would have to be Tarzan. Growing up as a kid, what I used to do was just pretend that I was swinging from tree to tree and just making that noise. Oh, oh. But now as I'm older, I realize Tarzan also has a deeper meaning. That we shouldn't be in one place. There is a bigger world out there. It's not only in the jungle. So I believe that because of Tarzan, my mind has opened up a little more. And yeah, so what I would say that my mind has opened a little bit more as to expanding my knowledge. And this is one of the reasons I'm here as well, to improve myself and learn from everyone here. Thank you.
Beautiful. I love it. Tarzan swinging from tree to tree, but it's all about self-improvement. Tell me of a serendipitous moment. Tell me of a serendipitous moment, Toastmaster or prospective Toastmaster. I'm speaking it into being, Vladimir Wallace.
Can you hear me? Yes, finally. All right. Pleasant evening to you and fellow Toastmasters. I'm speaking my position into being. Such a moment would have occurred when I ran into someone who I admired once and they asked me what I wanted for my birthday. Now, I've never been really asked that question. So I said, whatever you have in mind, I'm willing to accept. So they told me to turn up at a particular location on a Sunday morning, bright and early. And I was there. On that location, I walked and I saw art in a different format. I was wowed and amazed. I looked around, I was mesmerized. I asked myself, how can I get more of this? My friend laughed and said that I'm only teasing you. There's an entire world out there for you to grasp. I walked some more and I just could not leave the place. And at the end of it, I kept asking, I need to see more. I need to learn more about this creative world. Then she pointed me to someone and gave them my name and my telephone number. Little did I know that later that telephone call would have put me right at the Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club. And how I got here was entirely by accident, but I don't think me staying is less than fortunate. So thank you so much for the invitation, Universe, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Toastmasters. I'm speaking it into being, Vladimir Wallace. So today's table topic is called Short and Sweet, and I will now return control to our Toastmaster of the day.
Let it go. Let it go. I love that. I love that. I love Disney movies. What can I tell you? I love anything escapism. So once it's an animation, once it's a Disney, I am there. So what I remember when my boys were much younger, all the mothers would come to me because they knew that in the days when you still vetted the movies that your children watch, I don't know that it's done so much anymore. But I remember they used to always come to me because I would be able to tell them about the movie because yes, I would have watched it already under the guise that I'm checking it out for the boys. But the truth is, it really was for me. The time has come, the word was said, for our general evaluator to come back and take control. Just before she does so, I would ask the timer to give us the timing of the prepared speeches. Joni, are we voting on the table topics? Do you need the timing of those as well?
Yes, please.
Okay, so Madam Timer, could you give the timings of the prepared speeches, the table topics, and in the interim, I am given control of lectern and gavel to Toastmaster Dominic. Over to you.
Okay. The paired speech, the art talk. Oh dear. Give me a second, please. The art talk went on for 14 minutes, 51 seconds, and 9200 of a second. The first speaker spoke for 6 minutes, 25 seconds, and 3800 of a second. Toastmaster Marcia was with the third speaker. She spoke for 7 minutes, 42 seconds, and 50 of a second. The table topic segment, Toastmaster Eric Walcott, he spoke for 1 minute, 37 seconds, 50 of a second. Toastmaster Dwight spoke for 1 minute, 11 seconds, 7 of a second. Prospective speaker, Toastmaster Wallace, spoke for 1 minute, 22 seconds, and 13 of a second. Back to your general evaluator.
Thank you so much, our timing fairy. At this time, I will invite our speech evaluators to prepare themselves to give their feedback, starting with Toastmaster Gabriela Royce. Over to you. And as she comes, you may see the poll has been launched for Best Speaker. You feel free to cast your votes. Toastmaster Gabriela, over to you.
Put back up the poll, please.
It's up. You're not seeing it?
If you haven't voted, you may find it under polls if that option is available at the bottom of your controls.
Okay. Are we sharing?
It was up and then it went down.
Do you see the poll icon at the bottom of your controls? Anywhere beside reactions?
I didn't see it, but I'm good now. Sorry, I don't mean to hold up the meeting. My apologies.
Not a problem. So I hope that you are able to find it and anyone else who has not yet voted. Over to our first evaluator. It appears that Toastmaster Gabriella is not on the platform. So until she returns, I would like to invite our second evaluator, Toastmaster Francois. Over to you. Toastmaster Francois?
Apparently, they both fell off, Toastmaster Dominique.
Okay, most
And-
unfortunate. So we will have to reach out if any of our exec members has their contact. In the interim, I would like to invite our grammarian to give her report at this time. Toastmaster Mary Bruce?
Yes, thank you. Well, at this time, I think everybody did very well. I think only one person said standing down and standing up, but the person made the correction. I didn't hear any mispronunciations or anything out of the way. I think everything was well done. But what I realized, I didn't hear too many of the word of the day. I was looking for it. I only heard the Toastmaster of the evening. She was the only one who really used the word, and she really tried to promote the word, but I didn't hear any other person talking about serenity. But she did a very good job of it. She started with it and she said it in between, and she really tried to encourage the word, but I didn't hear anybody else using the word. So basically, everything went very well. Everybody was perfect. The grammar was perfect. I had no issues. So thank you very much. That's my report.
Thank you, Madam Grammarian. To all those who are on the platform, there is still time to use the word of the day, serenity, or any derivatives as we continue. And let us take this time to find our quiet space as we listen to the rest of our reports. We have the poll in front of us for best table topic speaker. Please take a moment to cast your vote. And as you do so, I would like to invite our counter, Toastmaster Patrick Chester, to give his report.
Good evening again, Toastmasters and guests. I must say that all of the speakers, they presented themselves well, but there were at least two of them who, I think in their exuberance to express what they had to say, if I may identify their names, Toastmaster Marcella, she was hooked on the eyes. I would say the eyes have it. I wouldn't even want to see how many times she said I, but it numbered 20, over 20 eyes and counting. Toastmaster Eric Walcott, he was also hooked on the ahs and I wouldn't say how many, but he had quite a few. As to our talk, it isn't right for us to judge him, but he did a few arms, but generally he was a very good speaker. That is my report, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Patrick, for demonstrating your keen listening skills during the presentations. And let us all take heart. We are here to improve. And so we will receive this feedback with thanks. At this time, I will take a moment to inquire whether our evaluator, Toastmaster Bowen, is prepared to give his evaluation.
Can you hear me? Because I thought everyone was hearing. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Internet is beyond my control. Let me try quickly. Toastmaster Masala, congratulations. You excel at including in your story a certain type of learners. Guess who the learners are? The visual learners. You engage the audience as well with Q&A to help you let them stay connected to you from the beginning of your presentation. What you may want to work on. Ask more Q&A within your presentation to keep the audience engaged. It's also good when sharing true life testimonies to show some photos and or vids if you have it, to link it to the story, to connect to your story, to challenge yourself. Your story was showing what you do, what you love. I am assuming that what you wore was your design, because I was looking intently and said, okay, that may be one of your designs. Pause the screen sharing to let everyone see your product in real life. Keep soaring like an eagle as you build yourself more and more to be a healthy leader and communicator. Continue to let Toastmasters be the means to your end. Thank you so much. Back over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Bowen, for sharing with us your feedback and utilizing the sandwich technique. I would also like to take a moment to confirm whether our first evaluator is on the platform. And I do not see our evaluator on the platform. So I will call on our timer to share her final report.
Excuse me, Madam General Evaluator, would you like me to evaluate the speech?
I would appreciate that. Certainly, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Would you like a few moments?
Not at all.
Okay, over to you.
Toastmaster Clive. So I loved the storytelling technique that you used. I'll remind us that Toastmaster Clive was doing his icebreaker speech, the purpose of which was to introduce himself to the audience and for us to get to know him. So the one thing that we discovered about you, Toastmaster Clive, is that you have the gift of telling stories, because you did that very effectively as you shared your story with us and wove in all the descriptive language, which was another strength that came out as you spoke. We learned that you and your friends went birding. We learned that you seem to be an avid birder and that you used to, shall we say, with youthful enthusiasm, be mischievous to your neighbor or community member, you and your friends, as you all went birding and had to be dodging him. We learned that you knew how to make the catapult. We learned that about you. What I would have loved, however, Toastmaster Clive, is to learn a little bit more about you. This is the icebreaker. And while we did get some details about you, we got mostly about bird season and bird watching and everything. I would have loved for you to share whether it was something you and your brothers did or you got the love from somewhere, but just a little bit more information about you. I thought, however, that your vocabulary, your vocal variety, your descriptive language brought the whole issue of the bird season to life, and just want to encourage you that when next you do an icebreaker, remember to give us a little bit more about your fascinating personality. Back over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, for sharing your valuable feedback. To our timer, I would appreciate if you could share with us the final timing reports
sorry, general evaluator, there was supposed to be a second evaluator for this, for the first speakers. I'm not sure if he or she would want to evaluate Distinguished Toastmaster Shelley's evaluation.
It wasn't planned.
No, I think
Well,
it's okay because I wanted to evaluate Toastmaster.
It was a project and I wasn't doing it as a project. I was
Right.
really helpful. But you can't say whether or not you thought I captured the points.
Yes, you did, Distinguished Toastmaster Shelley. Yes, you did.
All right, we could.
On the points of order, Toastmaster Gabriela is just logging on now. I think she dropped off. Could she still proceed with her evaluation?
I would say not because it's already been done. So she may want to do another project. But the truth is, it's up to the meeting and the general evaluator to make a decision.
Okay.
well, it will all be in the interest of time. So I would like to hear our timers report to see how we are doing. And
Okay.
then we can return.
So what is the time? Give me a second, please.
Not a problem.
We are actually running behind time. Because it's now 7:31 and evaluations should have been completed by 7. No, she could go ahead. She could go ahead. If it's okay with the general evaluator, we are on time. So if you want to allow the evaluator to do her evaluation, we do have time to accommodate that evaluation, if that's okay with you in a meeting.
Okay. So because we are all in a space to learn, and I do think that it is a good opportunity, especially for our new Toastmasters, to get a feel of another take on giving feedback, I would like to permit Toastmaster Gabriela to share her evaluation. So Toastmaster Gabriela, over to you.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we are.
Alrighty, give me just a moment. All right, so I am evaluating Mr. Bowen, sorry, Toastmaster Bowen's speech. Let me just get my camera back up. Are you able to see me?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. All right, so I'm evaluating Toastmaster Bowen's speech. I thought it was a really beautifully done speech on bird shooting and bird hunting. I've always been one to have thought that that activity was kind of cruel and senseless, but this might have actually changed my opinion. I see it now almost as a way to like learn about the different birds that are in that kind of area. The way in which the speech was done, it felt very story. I didn't feel like I was attending a speech. It felt like I was, basically at the foot or at the feet of someone very knowledgeable, almost like a child, and I was learning something very new and exciting. It did feel a little bit choppy in some areas, so I would say maybe you can work on your speed a little bit. There were some areas where it was very, very, very fast and very, very, very slow. That might have just been due to the inflection, but for me, it felt a little bit choppy. So I would advise that perhaps you can mix up and play with and diversify how and where you speed up or slow down some of the elements. As opposed to flow, it felt a little bit choppy, but otherwise it was very, very good. And I really enjoyed and I learned a lot. I liked especially the part where the imitation was done of the P-dubs. I thought that was very, very, very good. I enjoyed that. Otherwise, language was used very, very well. The tone was very, very clear. Eye contact and engagement was very good. I felt again like I wasn't necessarily, attending a speech. I felt as if I was in the room with you. Physical gestures were done very well. I liked how you, leaned in at certain parts and came out. You used your hands a lot, used your entire body. And I felt very comfortable, with that speech. And I really enjoyed that. That was very, very good.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gabriela, for sharing your feedback. on Toastmaster Clive's speech. At this time, I would like to take the final report from our timer just to see where we are as well as the time for that evaluation before I give my final observations. Madam Timer.
Toastmaster Dominic, given that Toastmaster Gabriella presented, you would need to ask Toastmaster Tricia
to give her evaluation.
Yes.
I understand. Thank you so much. So Toastmaster Tricia, please give your evaluation at this time.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Toastmaster Gabriella, thank you for using the sandwich technique in evaluating Toastmaster Bowen. You started off with a positive, giving your example of how you feel about bird season, which that was very well done. And you went on to the negative, asking him what to done. And one point was to slow down, and that was a good thing to let him know. And then you went back on a positive note, ending on a positive note of what you liked and how you felt. I encourage you to continue to go ahead, and you pointed out a lot of it, but I wanted you to say one thing in particular was his comparison against David and Goliath, when he compared how he did his slingshot, that it looks like David against David and Goliath when going bird shooting. You did a fabulous job in identifying his weakness as well as his positive. And I ask you to continue on your Toastmaster journey. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Tricia. Toastmaster Roger, I see your hand.
Okay, I am just wondering, Toastmaster Dominic, if we should still run the best evaluator poll, given the little mix-up we had. And the other Toastmasters advise on how to go forward.
All had been edited to reflect Dominic not being able to arrive.
Okay, so I'll launch it now.
Not a problem. Thank you so much. At this time, as you take the opportunity to cast your vote, I will share with you my final observations, after which...
All right, General Evaluator, can I give the times, please?
Certainly.
For the distinguished Master Shelley, she did her evaluation 1 minute, 55 seconds, and 4/100 of a second. The original evaluator, she did hers in 2 minutes, 25 seconds, and 4/100 of a second. Her evaluator did her evaluation 1 minute, 9 seconds, and 90th of a second. Evaluator for Toastmaster Marcelo, she did hers in 1 minute, 33 seconds, and 50,000 of a second. Overall, the meeting started on time. The counter, he did 1 minute, 7 seconds, 4/200 of a second. The grammarian spoke for 1 minute, 6 seconds, and 900 of a second. Overall, the meeting started on time, and the meeting is on time. And on that note, I hand back over to General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Madam Timer, and to all functionaries that have given their reports thus far. To begin my observation, I would like to congratulate the Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club on starting their meeting on time, especially for the warm welcome that was shared at the start and just before the meeting, where persons had the opportunity to set up, as well as our president's, what I would like to call wellness check-in, and hope that persons in St. Lucia and Dominica were safe given the weather. It really set that warm, friendly tone and environment, and brought home the point that we are a family and we care about the well-being of each and every guest and Toastmaster. I also liked the meeting theme that was set by our Toastmaster of the day. Something that brought me back in time to when I was young and when I avidly watched fairy tales, and as well as her take on the meeting theme and how she took us into her own little fairy tale world and explained to us why it was important to her. I liked how the meeting flowed, thanks to our Toastmaster of the day, as well as the engaging introductions that she shared on each speaker before they took the virtual lectern. I like that she led the applause, and this was also followed by our table topics master. The agenda being shared in the chat was also something that I appreciated, so that persons at whatever point that they came onto the platform were able to keep track of what was taking place. And I especially liked where various persons, when called upon to give an invocation or to read a meeting pledge, were attentive and alert and ready to step in. So congratulations once again on all those check boxes. If there was anything that you could improve for future presentations, it would be the labeling of functionaries on the platform. When it comes to spotlighting and other technical roles, it is important that persons are able to easily identify who plays a particular role. And so I will encourage all functionaries to remember to place your role by your name for ease of spotlighting, ease of identification. Also, to encourage all persons to take advantage of the points before the meeting where you can do all your tests and checks, so that when it comes to presenting or sharing anything at all, the meeting will run smoothly in that regard and you'll have all the permissions that you need. I would also like to encourage persons that when you have finished speaking or you've completed your role, to properly hand over to the Toastmaster of the day or whomever else is supposed to gain control of that meeting segment, to say, Madam Toastmaster, Mr. Toastmaster, as well as when handing over to the Toastmaster of the day to introduce the speaker for the speech title and the speaker's name. But overall, it was a wonderful meeting and it was a pleasure to be your general evaluator. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much to our general evaluator and her team for their keen attention to detail. Ladies and gentlemen, in life you have a choice. You can see the glasses half full, or you can see it as half empty. You can choose to see the magic and the fairy tale in this wonderful life of ours, or you can focus on the negatives and the down. It's up to you. But remember, this life is a short one, and you never ever know when you will take that last breath. I would like to think that it is best for us to focus on the magic and the fairy tale that life has to offer. It has been my absolute pleasure and honor to have been your Toastmaster of the day. And I now hand you back over to your president, Toastmaster Marcella Center-Over. Gavel and virtual lecture to you.
Just one moment, please. Sorry about that. I had a fan that was a little too loud. Yes, bravo, bravo. Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Shelly-Ann O'Connor. It's always a pleasure to have you as one of our functionaries at Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club. You did a wonderful job as usual. Thanks a million. To all our functionaries this evening, general evaluator, table topics master, the super team, thank you. Our meeting, I find we tried our best with the meeting this evening, but we try to make it as seamless as possible. But, you know, Murphy always raises his ugly head and always tries to intervene. But overall, I can say we had a wonderful meeting. Our guest, Cook Elliott, what a wonderful job. And like I said in my speech this evening, I remember the days when you started, you know, your photography. I can remember you going around with your camera and, you know, doing your thing. And of course, you made it a career, which was wonderful, and congratulations for that. A pleasure to have you here this evening. Yeah, congratulations again to our new members this evening. I'd like to tell them welcome to Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club, and that their journey, the Toastmasters journey has just begun. So congratulations. And with our guests, how about guest Cook Elliott? Would you like to say a few words on your experience here this evening?
Thank you for that kind invitation, Toastmaster Marcella. I just want to give thanks to everyone for having me on this evening. And I am delighted that you have been delighted with what I have shared, both the fun part of it, the romanticism side of it, as well as the business side. I also want to share that for those who had difficulty viewing my slideshow, what I did was while we were on, I uploaded it to YouTube and I placed the link in the chat so that folks could go back in and enjoy it. And like I said, I hope that you get as much pleasure from it, from viewing it, as I had in creating it just for you. So with that said, thanks again for having me on, and I want to wish this Toastmaster Club the best of success. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And of course, we invite you, who is a very artistic person, a very artistic individual, and we'd like you to join our club. So I'm sure you and Alwyn will have a talk.
I'm sure. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Oh, who's next? Anyone would like to say a few words? Toastmaster Clive, sorry.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, I enjoyed, I'm not a guest, of course, but then it doesn't take guests alone to enjoy the meeting. And as a member, I have enjoyed the presentations today, which I'm very grateful. There was some level of variety that I appreciate quite well. And when our art talk, Sir Kirk, made his presentation, I was particularly engaged because I myself am an avid photographer. I'm not making any money on it right now, but I in the past, once I put fuel in my car, the next thing was music and then camera. If I had those three combinations, I could go anywhere in Jamaica and anywhere in the world and be shooting pictures. I never traveled without my camera. So that I have even been able to help the police. Once I was passing a place and there was an accident, and I was able to capture the scene, and then the police was able to use that. So it's really a wonderful tool to have with you because it gives you a side view of the life that you're seeing directly in front of you. Moreover, one that can record it for recall sometimes more efficiently than your brain will support you in doing. I thank you for your presentation, and I see we have common ground because you talk about Mona, the UA Camera Club, and I've been there many times and know what it's all about. So I really enjoyed your presentation. Thank you. I don't drink beer, but you're welcome.
Thank you. You should do like me. With crochet, I made something happen with it. So there's still time for you to, do something big with your photography.
Madam
Yes,
President.
you're welcome. I noticed Toastmaster Rogers' hand is raised.
Yes. Now, if you realize, every time when we have Toastmasters, we always keep on forgetting one of the most important things, the certificates for all of our winners today. Sometimes I feel like because all of us, we put in so much of a team effort, we believe that everybody wins. Everybody puts on a good job. However, we need to recognize our winners today. So please allow me some time to deliver the free certificates. Okay, so correct. Yeah. Just give me a second. Just bring this down. Oh, my computer is sticking. Oh, my computer is sticking. Let me see if I can try to. Okay. Slide. Okay. So. Okay, so for best table topics, Eric Walcott. So
You muted.
yes,
Okay.
apparently my screen, there's something going on with my computer. I don't know what's going on. So, right, let me try this again. Okay. So let's Clive Bowen.
Toastmaster Clive Bowen, the best speaker.
That's Eric again.
Yes, Toastmaster Eric Walcott, best table topics.
And for best evaluator, François Bowen. I hope I said the name correctly.
François Bowen.
François Bowen. Right,
Congratulations.
So please give a big round of applause to all our winners for today. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to all our winners. And Toastmaster Mary Bruce.
Yes. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Just want to congratulate Cook on a job well done. And it would be remiss of me if I didn't say something about Cook. Kirk and I worked at the bank together when I was a supervisor. I always give that story. And then all of a sudden, Kirk decided he wanted to go into photography. So I'm saying, but Kirk, you're going to leave a steady job at the bank and you're going to do photography. I was so upset with Kirk. But Kirk wasn't hearing anything. That's just what he wanted to do. So he went on and he did all his thing and he did his photography and he's turned out very well. So what I'm saying is that when you have a dream, you just have to follow your dream. Because sometimes, yes, you have a bank job and you have a salary, but that's not really what you want to do. So sometimes we have to let our children move on. I do it with my children, whatever they want to do, let them move on. And Kirk has become such a great photographer that when I was at the NIC, he did our annual general reports. He did some fantastic photos and all of us look good. That one, and he did some photos of the various directors and chairpersons. They're still at the NIC. So I have to say congratulations to Kirk. Job well done. He just soared to new heights and he enjoys what he does. But one of the things tonight, I must say that whilst his video was going on, I thought he would have said what was going on. I knew the photos, I knew the pitons, the boats and everything, but many other persons may not have known. So what I found he should have labeled them at the time as they were going on. So job well done, Kirk, keep it up. Yeah, and you know already, Mary, always love you. In spite of all the stress I used to give him at work. Yes, and well, basically, everything went well as usual. It's always a lot of work to put in to get your speeches done and everything else. I'd just like to congratulate all the speakers and Madam, I forgot you, Madam President. Very good, very good. Sometimes I have my daughter-in-law who does crochet. I'm looking at her tonight. I don't know what she is doing, but she brings out some beautiful dresses for people to go on boat rides, and she feels so good doing that. Yes,
Right.
so you turn your hobby, your talent, and your hobby. Very good. Keep it up. I don't think I'll be able to do it, but all of us have our own things that we love to do. Okay?
That's right.
So,
Yes, thank
job
you
well
so
done.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mary.
Yes, you're welcome.
Oh, anyone else? Any volunteers to say a few words? No? Okay, well, at this point, I would like to see that the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming.